Hi everyone, I'm Tiani, I'm an M1, and I just wanted to share my perspective on what it's been like as a med student during these unique COVID times.
A caveat first though is that every med school is going through something different and have different setups as to how they're teaching their M1s. So my experience is definitely unique to me as a person, and unique to the school that I'm going to right now. So that is, yes, this general caveat that I'm going to put out there first.
Okay, that's an intro. Now let's dive right in. So, academics, honestly, nothing has really changed much, just because, first of all, what hasn't changed? Okay, I'm sorry. Still need time to get used to this whole filming situation here. First of all, what hasn't changed is the fact that a lot of people do stream their videos, their lecture videos online anyway from the comfort of their homes. So that actually in itself hasn't changed. Like, most people actually don't go to lectures in person. About like 30% do though. So I'm sure for people who would have gone to lecture, it's a very different learning experience for them, and I know some people just prefer to go to lectures. So I think it's very different if you prefer to go to lectures and you don't have that opportunity anymore to be in that space. But for the most part, streaming the lectures online hasn't been very different from what we would have typically done. A difference, however, is that now we're able to, so all of the lectures are pre-recorded, so we can actually watch like Friday's lectures on Monday, which means that we can cater our schedule however we want and watch the lectures in whatever order or quantity we want per day, which is nice. So there's a lot more flexibility in that way. And all the office hours are virtual. Everything else is pretty much virtual. So the actual like curriculum, learning the information hasn't changed a lot. My school is a mix of in-person and virtual, so everyone is actually on campus. So I can't speak to how it feels to not be on campus yet, and how it feels to maybe still be at home. And still trying to learn that information at home. So with study spaces, I know some med students have been going to our library or to coffee shops to study, with a mask on and so on. I haven't done that yet because I don't feel comfortable doing that, and I do find it fine to study at home right now, but I might change it up in the future because I don't know how sustainable this is for the next few months. But I would say that for the most part, a lot of people have been studying at home and find that it's hard to have this space between studying and just life because you don't have that physical space that separates the two, which I would definitely agree with. I think it's so much harder to separate that these days. And in terms of studying with other people and in groups, I think it's less natural and less organic to find these study groups, because on normal times during normal situations, I would expect that you just find someone when you're studying out and about, and strike up a conversation with them and realize that you guys have similar studying habits, or you meet someone during like the in-person lectures and then you start to study together. But now it's different because no one really sees anyone outside of actual gatherings and so on. There's just like less organic interactions. So because of that, I feel like the studying together, like the group studying, has felt a lot more forced and a lot more intentional. So for instance, like people will mention, on like our Google sheet that they're studying from this time to this time, and that like 4 to 5 people can sign up on the Google sheet. So that has been how group studying has worked so far at the beginning, but obviously we'll see how that progresses as time goes on. And now, in terms of just socializing in general, very different, I'm sure, across the board. For my school, I'm really grateful that our class, will see how that progresses as time goes on. And now, in terms of just socializing in general, very different, I'm sure, across the board. For my school, I'm really grateful that our class is very social and very open. So we have this Google Sheet with different activities like socially distant and masked and outdoor activities, with a certain number of like people who can sign up per activity, and we'll have that throughout the week. And that's been a good way to meet a lot of my classmates. I think there is also like a subgroup of people that we just all haven't met yet who, have different comfort levels in terms of what kind of social gatherings they want to go to. And so those people are going to be harder to meet at a time like this. And I would say the variety of activities that you can do someone is also limited and dependent upon your own comfort levels. So for instance, for me, like I have not been going to restaurants to eat yet. Some people have, I just haven't. I don't feel comfortable enough to go to and eat for a prolonged period of time without my mask with another person. So because of that, obviously what I can do with someone is very limited. Like I had someone ask me out for a dinner, just as friends, and I had to offer a walk. I was like, do you want to go on a walk instead? Because I'm not eating at restaurants yet. So I think, the variety of things that you will be doing is obviously limited, and obviously no one's going out to the movies. No one's, going out to the clubs. I don't even know if we have clubs in like the area that I'm in, but like bars, clubs, that's not happening. Very, very large social gatherings with like almost half your class, obviously that's generally not happening. So a lot of differences on that end of things. And I will conclude by saying that everything that I've mentioned so far is a very superficial level of what it's been like as a med student. I think there's so much underneath that I haven't really delved into, and I'm happy to delve into in the future. But for instance, I think it's just such a unique period of time that we're living in right now. I think that as med students, as residents, as attending physicians, as nurses, as emergency medical technicians and paramedics, as everyone, PAs, everyone in this healthcare workforce and pharmacists, just everyone who does something that touches healthcare right now, I'm sure is feeling a certain way about what they're seeing and what they're experiencing and maybe what their profession means to them because of this global pandemic that we're living in. And I know as a med student, as like a first year med student who's finally starting this professional journey, continuing on this journey that I've been wanting to do for years, it is quite a moment to start this journey. And I think our healthcare system, like all of the imperfections of our healthcare systems that we've learned and that we have been aware of are now fully exposed because of COVID. And I think that in itself is very impactful. And then seeing the bravery of all of our healthcare workers is also an incredibly impactful beginning for a little youngling, a little baby going into their, you know, his or her, their journey. And so I would say underneath everything, there is just this sense of awe and this sense of motivation to be the best physician that you can be, to really make more changes in the world and in our systems. And yeah, I think there is something quite powerful about starting this training process during a time like this and seeing how the systems are changing, like seeing telehealth in action, seeing how education itself and training itself is so rapidly evolving, because it has to during a time like this, is insane. So there's so much more that I can talk about in that area too, and if anyone wants to hear it, you know, just let me know. I am thinking about posting more videos. I don't know about the cadence yet, but this has been enjoyable, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.